Let's create our first Next.js application. We have built the login, sign up, and jwt authentication flow in Nest.js backend. If you have not watched my previous video on AI Pomodoro application with Nest.js and Next.js, in the last video I created the backend. You should clone that and run on your machine. Now we're gonna focus on front-end side. Let's set up the Next.js application. I'm gonna use Next CLI, npx create next-app, and I wanna install latest version. It will help me to set up Next.js application. Yes, I would like to proceed. The name of your application, you can choose any name. Do you want TypeScript? Yes. ESLint, Tailwind CSS, source directory. Yes, yes. It will take some time to install the dependencies. My project has created. Let's open that into my code editor. I'm going to move to this directory. I'm going to open into my VS Code editor. Let's run my project by running npm run dev. Let me open that into my localhost :3000. You can see that I have Next.js application is running now. Let's review the folder structure. I have a source folder. Inside the source, I have app folder. This is my layout. And this is my page. Whatever you change here, it will reflect on the UI. Let's say I can say docs here. Learn more about docs. It also supports hot reloading. You can see the button learn more docs. For examples, I can say Next.js example. And you should see the Next.js example for learn. This is how you play around with your project. So we have set up the application. Now we're gonna move forward with sign up form. We're gonna create register feature first. Let me draw some interface. We will have a register feature. It should be a page. Inside that page, I will have a form. I remember we were getting first name and last name, right? Let's draw that. Last name, and we also need email and password. I will implement social authentication later in these videos. I will have this text field, first name, email, and password. And here we will have a submit and cancel button, a submit button, or reset or cancel button. This is just a our basic mockup of register. You can call it register form, register. We need to create a page in Next.js that will have this user register form and a button. We can split that into multiple components. We can have a form component, and then we can have a separate button component. Then we can have a label component or text field component. We can break down our form into multiple components. I'll teach you how to do that. Now we need to install a couple of libraries to build form, this one. We also need hook form resolver, CLX, couple of packages. Let's install that. We need React hook form. I'm gonna use React hook form for form. And we need Zode for validator. We also need hook form resolvers. We also need CLSX. I'm gonna follow that type of styling. Let's install these dependencies. Oops, it should be hook form. Five packages have installed. Let's open the project. Let's modify global.css file. I don't want to like white or black background. Let's run the application. Let's move forward. First of all, we need to create a new page. In Next.js, you can create the page folder. Actually, you need register, and the name of the page should be page.tsx. Just like that, it will be treated as a route page. When you go to the /register route, this page will be loaded. Let me show you. Default function register. Let's make it simple page first. Register page. Let's go to the /register route. This is the register page. I think I changed the color. Let's remove that. Now you should see register page. Now we're gonna build our auth wrapper component. Maybe you have a question, why do I need auth wrapper? Auth wrapper because I wanna keep the consistent styling for register form, login form, or maybe forgot password. I wanna have the same logo, same styling, and same form structure. Same styling, same color scheme for a form. That is why I'm gonna create a new auth wrapper component. This is just an example of auth wrapper component. let's implement that. I want you to create a new folder structure in the app directory and name it components. You can keep components maybe outside of your app. This one is the best structure, yeah. And you can say the component is I need auth wrapper. Let's create auth wrapper component. By default, it's a function. I can say auth wrapper. Yeah. I like the GitHub Copilot. Auth wrapper, it's gonna get the React node. Or I can define a separate type. Let's import React. I can say that type should be auth wrapper type. Children is react.node, so I can call it here. Children, let's use that here. Auth wrapper type. Auth wrapper props. I want to use my own styling. So what I can, we're gonna need a lot of Tailwind CSS. Let's write that minimum height, screen, flex item center, justify center, background gray 100, and px4. Now I need another div. We need full width, max w, empty, background white, 8, rounded algae, couple of little bit shadow, empty. Here I can add my own logo. I'm gonna just comment here. I can add logo or heading here. Let's add class name mb-6. I want a text center, text to Excel. I want font bold, text gray, 800 scale, and here I'm gonna name of my application. And you should see, I think I should wrap that my register page to the auth wrapper. Let's do that here. It's gonna return the auth wrapper. Auth wrapper. Let's do that. I think I should import the auth wrapper. let's place register form. I think I did not create register form yet. Let's just create a dummy register form. I just call it register form. Get rid of this stuff. I will call it register form. Register form is not defined. Inside the register page, I should import it. Now I can see Pomodoro app. This is amazing. Now we're going to focus on building this form, register form. We need 4 fields: first name, last name, email, and password. We also need button on the form. Let's validate this form. First of all, I want to create a schema to validate my form. All of these fields are required. Remember, we installed Zord package to we can use that package to validate our form. Let's import that. I need to import Zord as a Z. I can say import star as Z from Zord. Z.object. One thing I want to do, I want to use prettier vs code. You can say settings.json. Default formatter is VS Code prettier. I can say prettier, yes. I also need format on save. If you have that setting, you don't need to do that. I also need prettier RC. Prettier RC. I don't know the spelling. Prettier RC. I'll check that. Let's continue. We will have first name, and it's a string. Make sure minimum 1 letter is required. Make sure you provide character. Minimum length is 1. I can say minimum length is 2, right? Similarly, I also need last name. The minimum length is 2. I also need email validation. Minimum length, I don't have length for email. For the password, the minimum length should be 6, right? For confirm password, the minimum length should be string, right? So we created the form, right? I also need to double check on confirm password. There is a method refine. I can use that for additional check. If password does not match with confirm password, otherwise we should send the error back. So you can follow that structure. Return data.password password.match, otherwise password do not match. Please send that message. Or I can say path should be confirm password. That is it. If you are not sure the refine method, you can double check that. What is the purpose of refine? You can Google that and read the Zod documentation on refine, or you can use GitHub Copilot. Refine method in Zod is used to add custom validation logic that cannot be expressed with built-in schema method. In your code, refine checks that password and confirm password field match. If they don't, it adds a validation error. It's a method to add custom validation. I got it. If you forgot to use refine for password confirmation, your form might accept the mismatched password, leading to user frustration. Now I got it. I understood. Now we're gonna build our form. We need to use React hook form library. React hook form provide use form hook. We can use that to define the schema or validation for the form. Let's define validation first. We have defined the form schema. I want to use the same schema for my form. The type should be string, or for the first name, the type should be last name, and it should be email and the password and confirm password. I want to follow the same schema structure or same validation rule for my form. React hook form allows you to do that. I'm gonna write the code. If you're not getting understand, don't worry, I'll explain that. I just want you to follow along with me. First method, we need to get the register. And we need to get the handle submit. Actually, we need to do that here. Use form. We need to get register. We need to get the handle submit. And we need to get the form state. Here I want to tell to React form hook, I want to follow the same validation rule. So I can use the TypeScript base format type my form schema z.infer type of form schema, and I can provide the same form schema here for this type. Use form and form schema. What it is doing, this is just doing something like this one, the type form schema, like email string, password string, first name string, last name string, confirm password string. This line of code is doing this thing, right? So we set the use form and set the type of our form. Now our React hook form can understand we will have these fields and these validation rules. It should be handle submit. here I want to provide my validator resolver. We are using the Zod resolver. We installed that. Now I should provide my form schema. Did I install React Hook form? I think I installed that. Let's double check that. Don't worry, we'll fix that. If you check the documentation of use form or React Hook form, I opened the docs, and you can go to the API and read the use form docs. Use form is a custom hook for managing forms with ease. It takes one object as an optional argument. We basically used the resolver, the option resolver, right? This is how you declare the form. You can also set the default value for the use form. It provides a register method. We're going to use register in this way, like we will bind that register method to input. Let's go to the resolver section. This is just a minimal example of use form. Here they have created the use form and provided one optional argument, this one. And we are getting register and handle submit, just like I did in my code, register and handle submit. And we are also getting the form state. On submit, it's going to call the handle submit, and register method is used to bind the input field with React Hook form state. When you click on the submit, if you will not provide first name, it's gonna give me the validation error. This one is just another example. This is the resolver example. We installed resolver, Zod resolver, this one. It has followed the same syntax. We're getting the schema, the name and age. Now I got the schema. They have attached the schema. Name type should be string, age type should be number, and they have attached schema here, and they have used the register method to bind the input, name and the age. We use the same syntax here. We're gonna use the same register method by following the same syntax. Now let's talk more about the form state. This is an object returned by use form that contains information about the form's current state. This will give the current state of the form. Are you getting errors? Stuff like that. You can also destructure the error from the form state. It will give either is form invalid or do we have any error. You can get that from form state. Let's destructure the errors, right? If you have ever worked with Next.js, you will see this syntax, use client. Use client means this is the client side component because it has a state. It is using the React Hook form state. This is just a directive. It is telling to Next.js, please render the register form on the client side. Client side means on the browser. Everything is inside the app directory will be rendered on a server side. Server side means on, if we deploy on AWS server, it will be rendered on there. Next.js pages and component inside the app directory are server components by default. They render on the server. Like page, layout, register, all of this stuff will be rendered on the server. That's why we placed components outside of the app directory. When do you need use client, or when do you need client side component? If you want to use browser API like window or local storage, then you need use client. If you want to use React hooks, then you need client side like use state, use effect, use form, use router, then you need use client. Like if you need to manage interactive UI like input fields, form validation, models, then you need use client. Now we're gonna move forward our building the form. Let's start building the HTML here. This one, let's create the layout first. I need a form. On submit, we will have handle submit. We will call onSubmit method here. We did not define that method. I'll define it. Let's set up the class name for the form. Space y-axis 4, width should be full. Max WMD. That's enough for form styling. Let's go for H2. H2, I can say create your account. Let's add styling for header, text size 2XL, font should be bold or MB medium 4. I have restarted the application. Now it is working now. Let's go to the register. I cannot see the header right now. Let's define the handle submit. I can do that here. Const on submit. It should get the form schema. The type should be form schema. It should get the data. Let's refresh that. let's create the input field. I will have a separate component for the input field, so we can reuse onto multiple places. The first name, the type should be text. This register is used to bind this input field with the React hook form. If I'll get error, I will display that errors.firstname.message. We don't have that component yet. Let's create a new component with the name of input. I can have a separate folder with call name UI. Here I will place my input component. These are all the UI related components. For auth wrapper, stuff like that, I can move that to auth folder. I'm also gonna move register to the auth folder. Let's save everything. It will update the path. Let's create the input component. React. I need forwardRef. Import CLX from CLSX. Let's define the type. Input props. It will have label type, label name. Name is an optional type in the error, and it is React.input HTML elements. Now we're gonna define the input forwardRef, this one. I cannot see my H1 in H2. This one, I think in the auth wrapper, we forgot to render the children. So I can say children. Let's say if I comment this code, let me import the input. Let's comment this code. Now I can see create your account. So in the global.cs, we should change that color. Now I can see create your account. Let's create the input. We should import the input from components. I think I did not add export in input. I can input.display name is input, export default input. Now I can see the first name. We gotta fix a little bit styling. First of all, I want to talk more about the forwardRef. When do we need to use that? When you look at the register form, we are using the input tag here. We are actually passing the reference from parent to child, so parent can interact. That is why we need this forwardRef. These are the two possible types for forwardRef. This forwardRef is a function. It will take two arguments. The first argument is an object. We are providing label, name, type, and error, class name, and props. Everything we passed here, it will be treated as a props, right? So, and the reference. The second argument is ref. And finally, we are returning the input tag. We need to fix a little bit styling. If you are not getting forwardRef, it is a way to interact with DOM elements from parent to child. You can look up the documentation for more about forwardRef function. Label should be HTML for props.id. I can say props.id or props.name. And text small and font medium. I don't want that. Text gray 700. This one is the label input. We are passing the same reference here, ref, and we are providing the type, and we are providing the name. Actually, we need to change a little bit. Let's provide the reference. The first one, the second argument type. The third argument is class name, py border, rounded medium. Let's do that, change a little bit. Focus should be focus ring. Focus ring and focus ring -2. Yeah, focus ring blue 500. Yeah, focus ring -blue 500. For the error, we need border red 500. Otherwise, we need border gray 300. I also need to provide class name. If there is an error, I can display into the paragraph, or you can use span. Red text red 500, text small, and margin top 1. So we have created our input. What is this? Let's fix that. It is saying the name could be null. I think so. All right. Now I should add last name. We need first name, last name, and I need email and password. This should be error.last name. Let's bind last name. This is how we created a reusable input box, so you can use multiple times. For email, the type should be email. Type email. Register email. Let's do that. Email. We have these properties. Let's do that for password. Password. I can say the type should be password. Let's bind password. Password. We also need input field for confirm password. You can say confirm password. The type should be password, and here it should be confirm password. Confirm password. Now we need a button. Here we need to create a submit button. So I will have a separate component for a button. I will create that. I can say that it should be register. Register. It should be type is equal to submit, class name be full. We did not define that button component in the UI. Let's go to the components directory into the UI and create button.tsx. Import React from React. Just like we did import CLX in the input component, we should follow the same structure. And type should be button props. These are the props. Children should be react.node. And let's do that. Type should be button, submit or reset. And let's say the children, after children I will have the variant, primary, secondary or danger. Variant is an optional property, and I will have is loading and disabled. Class name, I think I don't have any on click. I need is loading. We will define that later. So we created the button props. Now we need to create the button component. We can also set initial properties for the button. The type should be button. I can set that default behavior button. Children class name I can set empty. Or variant is loading by default, I set to false. Disabled by default, I'm gonna set to false. Variant is primary. This is the button props type. Now I should set the base style for the button, px4 padding, rounded MD, text small, font medium, focus outline none, focus ring 2. Let's add a couple of more. Focus offset to transition colors. I also want that these classes. I think I should get transition only. That's it. Now I need variants, or I can say that variant styles. For primary, I will have PG blue 600, text white over 700, focus string 500, disabled blue 300. Yeah. For secondary, this one over focus string K 400, and for disabled secondary, yeah, 100. That is good. Similarly for danger, red, and let's do for disabled. Yeah. So type is button, class name is this one. We use CLX to render the base styles and variants, and I provided the class name, whatever you will provide from here. Disabled is equals to disabled, otherwise is loading. If we set the is loading, it's gonna render the text loading, otherwise render the children. So let's import the button. You should see the register button. Now we're gonna add logic for error and loading. Let's add the logic for loading. I can do that here. We need to capture or keep the state of is loading and set is loading. By default, I'm gonna set to false. And we also need a server error, set server error. React.useState, by default, I can set it to false. If we get error from API call, we need to display the error. We have not used these two properties, these two state properties. Before making the API request, in the onSubmit, where I can set is loading to true. And set server error to empty or false. I think server error, set server error to false, server error false. Also need to handle a little bit logic here. If there is a loading, let's button disabled is equals to is loading. Let's also change the text. If is loading, you can say that creating account, you can change any name here. In the second argument, if there is loading, then you should display this text. Otherwise, you should display this one. You can see that I clicked on register. It gave me the first name is required, last name is required. Validations are working fine. Now we need to make the API request. When form is validated successfully, we need to send the API request to our backend server. We need to send the API request here. I will create a separate file where I will write the API calls. Let's implement, first of all, it should be set server error. It should be the string. Here, server error. Let's use the submit here. Now it makes sense. So set server error, I'm gonna set it to string, right? By default, it's a string. Let's wrap our code to try catch block. Yeah, here I will call the server error. An error occurred while creating new account. Please try again later. You can use any message and later. I will also have a finally block. I will set the set is loading to false. Inside the try block, let's log the message, create account with data. Let's see what it is going to return. Jane@gmail.com 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6. It's a client side component, so I should get console here. First name is required, last name is required. I provided all of these properties, then why are you saying that? We should fix a little bit our code. Here is an issue. I was providing the name. Get rid of this one. I should use props.name. Props.name. If you want to provide, you can provide the ID inside here, register form. Let's say ID is equals to, I can say first name, or let's say ID here, last name. Let's say for email, I can say email. For password, it should be password. For confirm password, the ID should be confirm password. Now let's do that. I'm gonna refresh it. Jane@gmail.com. Let's enter the password. Let's enter the password. You should see the data. Here I got the form data, this one. First name, last name, password, and confirm password. Our validation is working fine. If I add the one first name is required, you should add at least 2 characters of the first name, because we set the minimum 2. This one minimum 2 characters. Now we have to write the logic to make the API request to our backend server. Here we have to make API request. We need to send the API request to register endpoint. What I can do, I can create a new method. I will call it register user, right? And I'm gonna pass the data. If we did not get token from the response, because we are returning the token from the register endpoint, response.token, I can send the error back. I can get the error dot, I can say that response.json, yeah, and we have to send the server error. I'm trying to use await expression, so let's make this function to async. Now I should be able to apply await expression. Fail to create account. If everything is fine, we can navigate to the dashboard route, something like that. Account created successfully, I can say that. Now our goal is to implement the register user. I want you to create a new folder inside the app directory. Let's move to the outside the app directory, and I can create a new folder, lib. I can create a separate file, api.ts. Here you will place all of your API calls. You can say that. Let's create a new function. I will call it register user, right? It's gonna get the register input or form data. It's gonna make the API request. Let's return that. It's gonna make the API request to our endpoint. We will define our backend application endpoint in env file. So I can get process.env.next public. You can use any name, next public API URL, right? I think it should be auth/register. I have to double check that from backend application. I think, yeah, that is auth/register. We need to send the JSON application header, and we are providing the data body, and it is returning response.json. For form data, for input, it should be, the structure of the input should be, I can say, register input, and we need to define that in lib directory types.ts. I can place all of my types here. Let's define that interface. Register input, first name, last name, email, password. I don't need confirm password, I think, for API request. Now I should be able to import that. So our register user has completed now. Now we need to use that in here, register form. I'm gonna import that register user. One more thing, make sure you created the local env file. I'll call it in the root directory. Go ahead and create .env.local. Here you will place your public URL, backend application URL. I'll copy the exact key, and http localhost:3001. Yeah, I will run my Nest.js application on port 3001. I can also, I did not use that server error. I can show the message here after create account. If there is a server error, we need to display a div with server error. I can also create a different component for form error and pass that message. Let's make it simple for this case. Now you should see the message. Please fill in the details below to create your account. Or I can render. What if I render the server error? No, it will not work. Actually, let's create a new component, form error. I will use that form error in multiple places. This one will take, let's import React. From React, I need form error props. I will only provide message. And let's default export the function. That is it. We can add a couple of the styling. Background red is equals to 100, border and border red to 400, and text red 500. I use that, or I can use the 700, and text red 700, px4 padding, p5 padding 2, and I need rounded medium, and text small. That's it for now. We need to use that here. If we get the error from the server, we need to render that. So let's call it here. Get rid of this one. If there is a server error, we need to render the form error component and provide the message. That is it. Message should be server error. All right. Let's try to submit the form. I did not run the Nest.js app yet. I'm sure it's gonna give me the error. Let's see what it's going to give me. An error occurred while creating your account. Please try again later. Because my frontend, my backend is not running at port 3001. Let me run my backend project. By default, we set the port 3000. So I changed the port 3001. You can also do that. You can create a new variable in the env file with port 3001, or by default I'm gonna set the 3001. Let's run the application. We will send the request from register form and see are we getting requests from here or not. I think we are not getting request. http:/localhost 3001. What is an issue? Let's double check that. I think maybe the course issue, I think. So open the console. Yeah. Course issue. We need to enable the course on our backend application. What if I, let's say, submit the form? I've opened the console here. I got the course issue. In Nest.js backend application, you can enable course here. I can say that app.enable course process.env.cross region. Otherwise, I'm going to set it to default for only testing purpose. Now I have enabled the course. Spectacular. Account created successfully and we got the token. Congratulations, we have successfully implemented the register endpoint. After successfully registered, we can navigate that application to dashboard route or dashboard page. I'm just going to create a simple dashboard page just for only learning purpose. We will design that page later. I'm gonna get rid of this one. Let's continue that. Let me remove that. In the app directory, I'm gonna have a dashboard folder. Let's define a page. I can say that page.tsx. And let's do the dashboard page. Yeah, that is it. Just a simple dashboard. Go to form, register form. We need a router here to navigate our application. So I can use the router hook. Let's use the router hook. Import. I need use router. From Nest navigation, I can use that. Let's create a new router from the hook. I'll call it router. Use router. This router has a method. I can use that to navigate to the login page or dashboard page. After successfully login, I can navigate to, let's say, dashboard. Or you can also navigate to the login route, right? I should go with login, let's say, login route. We did not define the login page yet. Let's go ahead and create login page.tsx. I'll create a simple login page. Yeah, just a simple login page. We will create login form later yet. I just want to test this router. Go to the register form. Here I can use the router.push. Let's create a new account. Auth login request has made at this time. I can say that Samikhan at gmail.com. Password, I should add the password. Oh, the default export is not a React component. What is going on? I forgot to add. I forgot to export the login page. Let's again 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6. The default export is not a React component in login page. Let's fix that. Oh, I think I should use the function here. Export default login page. The function, it's a default function, right? Yeah, because I imported as a default function. Oh, now I got the login. Let's test it again. I'm going to provide the password. Now I can see the login page. So our router is working fine now. Let's keep moving towards building the login form. I'm going to follow the same structure. Just like the register, I can copy everything from register and I'm gonna paste it here. This time I'll call it login form.tsx. I'm gonna paste that. Instead of register, I'll call it login form. We don't need first name, last name. I think we don't need confirm password. Yeah, I don't need confirm password here. Let's remove that. Form schema, that would be fine. For register, it should be login user. We did not create that method yet. Everything should be as it is. I will get the token just like register. That would be fine. After successfully logged in, I can move to dashboard route. Everything as it is. I don't need first name and last name. Let's remove that. We have email and password. Now you learn how to do form in Next.js. You can reuse this code in multiple projects. You can reuse the input component in multiple projects. This time I should say login. I can say login account. So everything is fine now. All I need to change the login user API. Inside the api.ts file, I can copy that. And this time I should say login user. I can create a separate type for login input. Let's define that. I'll call it login input. First name, get rid of the email and password. Oh, first name and last name. Let's import the login input. Instead of register, it should be login. Now we need to test the login method. Actually, we need to wrap this one. We gotta follow that same syntax. This should be login page. This should be login form. Remove the register form. Now it should be login, not a create user, right? Let's import login user. It should be login. Let's create a new user. Oops. Create new user. Kami at gmail.com. 1 2 3 4 5 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. I'm gonna copy that email. Now I'll log in. It has successfully navigated to the login route. I'm gonna paste the password. I got the issue here. Dashboard page. I think logged in worked successfully. Let's double check that. Yeah, the same issue in the dashboard. Oops. Dashboard, this is not a page. Export default function dashboard page. Now I should see the dashboard page. Let's log in again. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Spectacular. We have navigated to the dashboard page. In the next video, we're going to implement more our authentication logic. How we're going to save the token. Either are we going to use local storage or are we going to use HTTP cookie. I'll share more about the details.